Tonight, Russia has summoned the U.S. ambassador to issue a formal warning. Expect retaliation. This comes after an attack launched by Ukraine using U.S.-made weapons and following more than 2.5 years of war that began when Russia invaded Ukraine. Here's national correspondent Christine Frazao.
Sounds of laughter followed by panic at a beach in Sevastopol, Crimea, the site of a missile strike Sunday launched by Ukraine. Russian authorities say more than 150 people were injured and at least 4 killed, including 2 children, and are blaming the United States.
Washington is directly involved, not only by supplying the missiles, but also fully controlling their flight missions. The strike targeting civilians in Sevastopol will not go unanswered.
The U.S. State Department brushing off the threat with a reminder it was Russia that started the war in Ukraine in the first place.
We provide weapons to Ukraine so it can defend its sovereign territory against armed aggression. That includes in Crimea, which of course is part of Ukraine. And Russia could stop this war today.
Instead, there are new fears of escalation. With new reports, Russia's considering violating a treaty it signed and planning to launch a nuclear anti-satellite weapon into orbit. Also last week, signing a defense pact with North Korea and recently bringing one of its nuclear-powered submarines to Cuba, incredibly close to the United States. For its part, the U.S. is expected to announce another $150 million in munitions for Ukraine. And last week, the Pentagon gave Ukraine's military the green light to use long-range missiles provided by the U.S. to strike targets inside Russia.
The Russians right now are trying to pitch this both internationally and domestically, the war in Ukraine, as one now increasingly between Russia and not Ukraine, but the West and especially the United States.
Seth Jones says there are 2 reasons for this. First, domestically, it helps Putin at a time his economy isn't doing great and tens of thousands of Russian soldiers are dying in the war. But also internationally, to continue to bring in military aid from countries like China and Iran, who see the U.S. as an adversary. In Washington, I'm Christine Frazao.